think my head's cut off on this one. Hello, it's Dr. Wendy Walsh. It must be Wednesday. It must be at 6 o'clock. And I'm here for you, answering your relationship questions. Let me put some banner up so you guys can know who I am. And let me watch your comments and see if we have any comments. As usual, the first thing I like to know is where you're watching from. So tell me where you are. How come I can't see the comments on this? Sophia, this is not my usual live stream. I have a teenage assistant here today, and she set up my live stream. And usually comments, hey, Instagram, would you do me a favor? Put some comments, and let me see if I can see them. For some reason, I can't. So I think I'm on a different kind of thing than I normally am. Do you see me there?
Is this the account you're on?
That's the account, but this live stream, I'm not able to see any of the comments. Do you see the comments?
No.
Put some comments, Instagram, just so I know you're there. So the first thing I like to see from everybody is tell me where you're watching from. And there's Ella from Los Angeles. Anybody else? Sophia, why don't you test one through Instagram? Put a comment that says where you're watching from. Okay, just getting set up. So, hey, everybody, I'm going to answer your relationship questions. And hello, Better Than August. How are you? Where are you watching from? Let me know where you are, what part of the world you're in. And as usual, I'll remind you, if you're not familiar with me, I have a PhD in clinical psychology, and I specialize in attachment theory, the ways humans attach across the lifespan. Oh, hello, Seattle. How are you? Good to know you're there. Hello, Toronto. Bethany's there from Toronto. How are you? And I don't know why, but I'm not seeing any of the Instagram comments. Are you seeing any of them? Nope. So I think we're doing something different on Instagram this time, Sophia. I'll show you next time what we do. Anyway, Facebook, I see you're online. YouTube, I see you're online. Twitter, I see you're online. LinkedIn, I see you're online. Welcome, welcome to my little live stream that I do on Wednesdays. Hello, Rosemary from San Diego. Hello from Alan. I don't even know how to say this. Tutopolis, Illinois. Tutopolis, Illinois. Is it near Chicago, perhaps? Hello, Steve from Beverly Hills. Good to see you. Okay, anybody have any good questions for me for your relationship issues? How's COVID doing on your relationship? For some people, it's better than others. Some people are liking this coupling up and settling down, and other people are having a lot of stress, especially if they've got kids in the house and they're trying to do Zoom, etc. So let me know if you have any questions, because I'm here to answer them and give you whatever advice I possibly can. Somebody asked me, are dating apps worth it? Can you find love on Tinder? You know what? Whether you're going to a bar or a Chinese food restaurant or walking down the street or walking through an app, finding love is about setting your expectations and being very, very clear about your expectations from the beginning. So that means literally on Tinder, you can say to somebody, hey, by the way, I'm not here for a hookup. Like in the early beginnings of your first texting, hey, I'm not here for a hookup. I know this app has a reputation for that. I'm looking for somebody in a committed relationship. Hi, Cam from Iowa. And you set your boundaries and you set your expectations. And you can do that anywhere. Hi, Megan from El Segundo. How are you? So that's a good question. I saw any other questions? Ukaipa. Hi, Ed from Ukaipa. How are you? So yeah, the apps are no different than walking in a bar. It's about how you handle yourself, how you set your expectations out. Ella says, how do you learn to trust a partner after you've been cheated on? So I want to explain something about this. This is never to blame the victim of anything, but so much of our love relationships are actually replications of feelings from early life experiences and patterns. And we go out as an adult and we try to find other adults who will fit into our schema of love for whatever our schema may be. So if you have abandonment issues, sadly, unconsciously, I mean, when two people first meet, they unconsciously do a little handshake that says, hey, you're going to treat me this way? Great, because I need that. You're going to treat me that way? Wonderful. And we keep doing it until we work out our stuff. So the answer is, how do you get over it? Well, You learn about your attachment style. You learn why unconsciously you are attracted to a cheater. This is not blaming you. It's just saying that it always takes two people to tango in every single relationship. And you learn to trust by taking your time next time, slowing everything down, protecting your body a little longer, not just acquiescing to the needs or demands of somebody else because you want to be liked, but to feel what's right for you. Okay, I hope that answered your question, Ella. Hi, Brian. Cold night in Virginia. What's a temp? And I have a nice question from Eric. Eric says, what are subtle subtext questions to ask to probe and reveal someone's narcotic or psychopathic characteristics? Well, you just watch and see. I don't know. Narcotic means, are they using narcotics, using drugs, or somebody who's a compulsive liar? I mean, look, early stage relationships are all about vulnerability and learning to trust, but also assessing a mate. And I always believe that, that old saying, if you give somebody enough rope, they'll eventually hang themselves. And it means like, if you just watch. But what happens too much at the beginning of relationships is people fall in love with their own projections. They imagine how perfect this person is, and then they fall in love with that. And they look for behaviors that confirm their positive bias, instead of trying to stay as open-minded as possible and looking for the positive and the negative and doing kind of a cost-benefit analysis, right? Hi, Tom from Maryland. How are you? Happy holidays. Hi, Peter from Westlake Village. I'm not going anywhere for the holidays. I am here in the small place with a couple teenagers, just hanging out. What are you guys doing for the holidays? Any more questions, relationship questions? I don't know if I answered it, Eric, because I don't think there are certain questions you can ask people to find out about their mental health. You have to just kind of wait and see and not project perfection on them. You went narcissistic. Well, narcissists, of course, are easy to spot because they create these false personas, these performance personalities, and they can be very seductive and very attractive, and everybody seems to like them at the beginning. But after a while, you start to realize, have they asked me anything about me? Have they done anything for me? Or do they have empathy for others? I mean, watch everything, how they tip the waiters. Of course, restaurants aren't open now, but how they care for others, because certain kinds of narcissists are malignant narcissists, and they can't even imagine that anyone else has another feeling separate from theirs. So, hi, Robert from South LA. He said he's been enjoying listening to you gush about your significant other lately. Well, yeah, because my brain is taken over by the neurohormones. I'm a walking, talking version of early stage attachment, where all the neurohormones make you just happy and euphoric. So that's kind of nice. You're doing the same minus teenagers, Steve. You're going to be by yourself. I know. I'm going to probably cook a small Christmas dinner and do something. Thanks, Frank. Nice to hear that you enjoy my show. Here's a great question. Is trusting your instincts a real thing? I feel like this guy is lying to me. I remember the big security guy, Gavin DeBecker, I think, who does, he does big stalker stuff with celebrities and security. And someone once asked him about should they put in nanny cams at their house. And he said, look, if you think you need a nanny cam, you probably should fire the nanny. So if you think somebody's lying, listen to your stomach. They probably are. Now, if your stomach has failed you in the past, if your gut instinct has never been wrong, if you live with huge amounts of paranoia that just don't make logical sense, then yeah, don't trust your gut. But for most people, if your stomach's telling you something, you should definitely pay attention to it. Here's a great question. Is it possible to get too comfortable being single? How do I break out of a rut? No, I mean, it depends what kind of secure attachments we have in our life, right? Humans are wired to bond. Humans are wired to have pretty elaborate social connections. But sometimes we get those social connections not from a traditional one on one love relationship, but we might have multiple secure attachments with our family members, our close friends, our colleagues, our pets. And if you combine them all together, it gives you a sense of security. Now, on the other hand, if you think about why long-term monogamy was kind of invented, it's partly to bond long enough to raise kids and get them up out of the nest. And also, relationships are an exchange of care. And that care can take so many forms, right? It can be financial care, sexual care, emotional support care, intellectual stimulation care, domestic care, instrumental care if someone's ill. But if both people are young and healthy and have their own money, you'll find that they don't gravitate so much, or they're not interested maybe in raising a family yet. They don't need that, and they can have a lot of security. Now, on the other hand, there are a lot of people avoiding relationships because they have pain and injury around love and connection. So those people, of course, can get too comfortable being single, because the only way to learn how to have healthy relationship skills is to try it out. You can't sit on a mountain meditating forever and think that you've grown. You haven't. You've avoided. You really have to, relationships are a gymnasium for the mind. Steve says, congratulations on your new relationship. I'm guessing I'm late in asking you out. Yeah, darn it. This is riverboat gambling. This is a question that sort of extends on it. What if I'm utterly alone? I have no ability to socialize because of being hurt prior. Well, we all have that, right? So many people had early childhood trauma, and that's where it began. Even though you reactivated that, live that out again in maybe early romantic love in your 20s, and you call that the source of your problem, the source of your problem probably goes all the way back to when you were pre-verbal. So it's about going to therapy. That's the most important relationship. The most important relationship you need to have before you can have a good relationship is one with yourself. In order to have a better relationship with yourself, you have to go to therapy to really learn where your issues are. Somebody else a couple people had questions. They agreed with you, Ella. I'm very comfortable being single, and I think I'm my own worst enemy. Rosemary, you're going to have to elaborate on that. Are you afraid of love? Are you afraid of connection when you say your own worst enemy? Because when I hear that, I hear that you actually want a relationship or think you should want a relationship. So really, what's stopping you? Now, I also want to say, we have more unmarried adults in the American population than married adults for the first time in history, right? So in 1950, by the age of 26, pretty much 80% of everybody was married. And now we have 50% of adults across a lifespan who are not married. So marriage is one kind of relationship, of course. Living together is another kind of relationship. But don't worry that you have to be in a specific box, right? You don't have to be in one specific relationship box to be a healthy and whole person. And Rosemary says she does want a relationship. So then I say, what's holding you back? Get on those apps. It's so low risk during COVID because you can't meet in the real world. So you can practice all kinds of relationship skills by getting on the telephone with people. And by the way, it's really polite to not ghost. Make a canned text that says, hey, it was a delight talking to you. Good luck with whatever they talked about on the phone, whatever you're doing next week. I don't think romance is in the cards for us, but I'll keep you in mind for a friend. Send that little text. They will either write you back and say, thanks for being so polite. It was nice chatting to you too. Or they will never write you again. They'll just disappear, which is what you want to have happen. But they won't write you and say, you mean person, how dare you? Not if you send them something polite, right? So Rosemary says that after she goes on a date or two, she pushes them aside, even if she likes them. Yes. Psychologists would call that an anxious, ambivalent attachment style. The come closer, go away, folks. Or if you get too close, I'll create some drama to make you run. right? Because they're ambivalent about trusting love and connection. So I would do a little bit of work on yourself. And there's so much teletherapy, Rosemarie, that's available right now. And some of it really affordable, which makes me come over to Frank's question. Frank asks, what if I can't afford therapy? I'm telling you, everybody can afford therapy. And here's why. Every single graduate school in the country, at even the best Ivy League universities, has a counseling center where students are desperate for patients. And they already have 7 years of education. They're getting all their hours to become licensed, and they're supervised by licensed therapists. And sometimes the cost is $0. Sometimes the cost is $10, right? I would also check with your health insurance. Most health insurance covers at least 8 sessions a year. Check that out too. It is possible to find therapists that's affordable therapists. You just have to dig a little bit. Any more questions? I'm trying to watch them as I go. I don't know why I can't see the Instagram questions this time. Something's up with Instagram. Does anybody have any other relationship questions? I wanted to also give you a couple little love hacks to small ways that if you are in a relationship, that you can make a big impact on your relationship. For instance, when your partner comes home, or if you're quarantined, when they come out of one room into another room at the end of the day, and they're making the psychological transition from the work day to the evening day, try to always welcome them with something positive. This is called priming the brain, right? So if your partner comes home and you say, oh my God, I was just thinking about you. I missed you. Or, oh my God, we're going to have the best evening. I have this great plan, this great meal plan. Or you might just say something like, you look great. But if someone walks in the door and you say, how was your day? Oh, are you tired? Or you complain about something that happened to you, you have now primed their brain for negativity. So on first coming back together, always start with something happy and something positive. It's such a simple little love hack. Brian's got a comment. I love to put Brian's comments up there. In the old days, we didn't have apps. We had to get the courage to talk to people. Yeah. Express ourselves, get to know each other. Modern dating sounds so stressful. It really does, Brian, because so many young people don't have the relationship skills. You know, they have been texting their whole life. And the idea of walking up to somebody and saying, hi, can I have your number, is just like so hard for people. But like anything else, you know, relationships are far more about skill than luck. And these skills you can learn. You do it with practice. And that's why I say during COVID is the best time, because you can get on those apps, you can be texting, you can be calling people, you can find out what works, what doesn't work. It's a great time to do that. Still don't see any on Instagram.
I don't think you're live on Instagram.
I know. It says 55 followers active now. I don't think. I pressed the button. I don't know what happened with Instagram tonight.
Do you want to fix it?
Yeah. Usually what I do is I go to my, sorry guys, I got to do a tech thing. And I go to home. Oh, no, I go to my profile. And then see this TV thing here?
Yeah.
I click on that. And then, oh, where's the live thing? Maybe it's that. Nope, that's somebody else's Reels. I don't know what happened now that they launched Reels. We're going to have to figure out Instagram. Yeah, you can move it since I'm not live. You can figure it out. It's something changed in Instagram in their settings this week.
Yeah,
I don't know.
It updated.
Okay. Riverboat says, what motivates you to get going? It's to keep going. It's an interesting question because human beings do best when they're moving forward in life, when we're planning something, when we have a project, when we have goals. So it is very important for our mental health to always have goals. My goals keep changing, but right now my goals are about getting the last kid through high school and up and out of the nest and on her feet. My goals are to have a healthy romantic relationship. My goals, I have lots of work goals too. If you haven't listened to my podcast, that's called Mating Matters. Are we live now on Insta?
Yep.
Yay, we figured it out. I'm so happy.
Okay.
Yeah, wonderful. Okay, we're a little late on Instagram, but we're finally there. Finally there. I did something wrong. So hi, everybody on Instagram. Thanks for joining us. We've already been doing a few relationship questions over on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and LinkedIn. I have young assistant beside me. So if she sees any of your questions on Instagram, she will be answering them for you. We were talking about how someone asked a question about what motivates me to keep going. And I talked about how human mental health is always about moving forward. It's always about planning projects, whether they're family projects and relationship goals, whether it's health and fitness goals, whether it's career and business goals, right? Very important that we're always planning something. Thank you, Evan. That's very nice of you to say. I appreciate it. And so I don't know if that answered your question. I hope it did.
Someone asked, how do I move from long distance to in pairs, maybe in person?
In person? That's an excellent question. So somebody's asking how they move from a long distance relationship to something in person. Well, first of all, just be prepared. The kind of relationship that works well long distance doesn't often work in the same city, and vice versa. Relationships go under a lot of stress when they're used to seeing each other all the time, and then they do the long distance, and then also back in the same situation. So you want to have lots of discussions about it. If you guys don't have a plan to be in the same city, you're going to want to get a plan and make some kind of ultimatum if that's what you want, right? And if you can't express your feelings that this is what you want, then you're not in a full, authentic, loving, honest relationship, right? So you start the conversation about saying, what date would work for you for us to be in the city? And then which city should we be looking for? And it's about jobs, right? And finding jobs in the right place. But you have to have a goal together to get in the right city if one of you wants that, right? I mean, we do know that there are perpetual long distance relationships that stay that way for years, and the people are very happy. But if one person is not happy with that, then that's an issue.
Another person said, what are the causes of mesothelioma?
No, that is Corn Metallica, and he is a big fan of all my lawyer commercials, so he loves to ask me questions about our lawyer ads, but we're not doing consumer attorney marketing group tonight, but thank you for your questions. Somebody asked how early it is to talk about kids. Am I crazy for wanting to know right away? Well, I got to say, there's a big conflict between our fertility window, female fertility window, and male fertility window. Although we're now learning that men do have a male fertility window. Men over 40 have much higher rates of kids with autism. So guys, you got to get on that. The answer is the biggest conflict between the sexes has always been that the height of women's fertility is her 20s. It takes a dive at the age of 30. It falls off a cliff at 35. And despite what you hear about celebrities having babies well into their 40s and even early 50s, this is not natural. And it's always done with a lot of very expensive scientific help. Now, women are working hard to try to extend the fertility window by freezing their eggs, etc. But there's another way too. And the way is to just bring it up. And I think it's perfectly acceptable to tell somebody you're in a relationship with that you want to have a family. And if they're not into that, then and you can move away and get on going with somebody because I promise there is somebody for you who wants to build a family. So don't be afraid to say, this is my goal. Within the next couple of years, I'm going to want to have a child. And if they're not interested in that, it's also up to you to move away, because you can't, if that person is more important than having kids, that's what will play out. But if really having a family is something you're going to regret not doing, then, Rodney has a good question. I like this one down here on Facebook. I dated someone who was really into me, wanted to go out a lot, but when I showed the same amount of interest back, suddenly it was too much for her. What's that about? Well, she liked when you were playing a little bit hard to get. And so maybe what you believe is I gave her the same amount back, but maybe you gave her more. And also there are people, sorry, I've got a dry throat, whose attachment style are such that they can give love but not receive it very well. Having a healthy attachment style is being able to both give and receive love equally. And so maybe she just wasn't that kind of person, wasn't able to receive. Okay. Any more questions about relationships before we go? Just all the hellos. Tell me where you're watching from on Instagram. I'm sorry you came on so late. We were having some technical problems. Thank you for the nice compliments down here. Oh, Solange joined us from Lake Tahoe. How are you? Okay. That may be it for tonight, right? Oh, is Myers-Briggs reliable? Somebody asked me. No, it's not known to be highly reliable. It changes if you take it different times of the lifespan. Thank you, Daniel, for saying you like my TikToks. This is a new thing for me. I've just started. I only put 4 videos up. How do you love someone that doesn't love you? You shouldn't. Never love something that can't love you back. Please. You're just going to hurt yourself. Hello from Baltimore. How are you? I think relationships is more than exchange of care. It's about improving. Well, we grow through our relationships, right? Relationships are a gymnasium for our minds, and it's the only way to grow. Eric says, how does a man assert himself as a gentleman in an increasingly effeminate world? I think you're talking about gender roles. And I think you're talking about traditional gender roles that may offend some women. So it's about finding, but there are women who like traditional gender roles, right? It's about finding someone who's okay with those traditional gender roles. And I don't know if that the world has become so effeminate, Eric. I'm going to argue on that one. I think what the world has done in our changing wide spectrum of gender roles has taken men out of the man box. Many, many men were trapped in a man box that said in order to be a man, you had to not show your feelings. You had to be aggressive. You had to be assertive. You had to be only heterosexual. And I think a lot of men were just humans. And women had the luxury of being able to, have a wider range of gender expression. And now we see that so many men are being let out of the man box, and it's such a gift. My wife asked for more positivity, so I did. 3 months later, she says, too much. It's too much, maybe. I think I need some specific examples there for me to analyze that. That seems pretty general. Thank you, Megan, for that. Any other questions? Oh, can you learn to trust a partner after they've been unfaithful? You know the saying, once a cheater, always a cheater. But having said that, I will say that for many couples, an affair is the big SOS call that their relationship is in distress. And it is a symptom of a problem more than the problem. And so sometimes when there is infidelity, if the couples come back together in therapy and work through all their feelings around it, they can sometimes get closer and they can look back on it as kind of a gift, right? Any more questions? Where should we go? Somebody asked 50 and 31, too far to fall in love? No, you're both grown adults. Online dating is addicting. Yeah, absolutely. They're designed to, oh, there's a phone call. Does it cut off my live or is it back? I guess it's back. Phone call came in anyway. Yes, the apps are designed to get you addicted to the apps. They're not designed to have you find a healthy relationship. That's why you need to get off the apps as soon as you meet somebody. Get their phone number and start texting in the real world and just focus on them, not the hundreds of other people there on the app. Because we suffer, I say this all the time, I'll say it again, we suffer from a paradox of choice, which means the more choice a human being is given, the less likely they are to make a choice. And when they do make a choice, they don't value that choice. I have not read the 5 love languages. I think people ask me about the book all the time. It seems to make a lot of sense. It's not psychological theory, but everybody has their own way of expressing themselves, right? Someone said, then why did you use Bumble? Because I got on and I got off. I'm not saying the apps are bad. I'm just saying how you use the apps. You will get addicted to them unless you take control and not let them biohack your brain, which is you match with 1 or 2 people and then you get off and you assess them, right? So that's the important thing. Let's see, I'm looking down here to see if there are any more questions. I think that's almost it. I think that's it. All right. I'm here every Wednesday at 6 o'clock on all my social media. You can also hear me live on the iHeartRadio app or KFI AM 640. And that's every Sunday from 4 to 6 on the radio or on the app. And also, if you're watching from Australia, Australian 9 Network, once a week I do a relationship segment with them. And also on the Local Now app, I do relationship videos every day. In fact, look, I can put all my little logos up. There we go. There you go. Now you know where to find me. Anyway, thanks so much for watching. Thanks for being here. We'll see you next Wednesday at 6 o'clock. Thank you so much. Good to see you. Stay safe. Yeah, we'll see you next week. Bye.